Welcome to the deep dive. There's this feeling you get in the professional world sometimes. A signal that the map you've been using is just suddenly out of date.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
We've been tracking that exact feeling, specifically around international assignments in China. And the trend is, well, it's pretty unmistakable.
It really is.
Experienced professionals are rotating out or, just shortening their stays way faster than anyone really predicted.
Right.
So the question for us today is this just some temporary turbulence, or are we looking at a permanent, really systemic shift in how global talent works over there?
That is the core question, and that's what we need to unpack for you. We've gone through the reports, the economic analyses, the corporate briefings, and what we see are two immense forces driving this.
Tectonic forces, really.
Exactly. Our mission here is to give you a clear handle on this new landscape. We're essentially trying to write the new rule book for you.
Okay, that's a big goal. So if we're breaking down these two big forces, what are they? Because they almost sound like they contradict each other.
Well, they're two sides of the same coin, really. Both of them complicate the long-term math for foreign firms and for professionals.
Okay.
So force number one is this deepening geopolitical uncertainty. That shows up as regulatory friction, operational headaches, you name it.
And the second?
The second is the huge shift in the business landscape itself. You've got slowing growth and, this is the critical part, the incredible rise of local Chinese companies and their own talent.
I think we have to start with the external pressures, the geopolitics. That friction seems to have just fundamentally changed the risk calculation for any business.
It has. The global picture really shifted after the pandemic. We saw a lot of major economies kind of turn inward.
Right.
And that's led to what some analysts are calling a trust breakdown between China and its big Western trading partners. The political relationship gets strained, and that immediately becomes business risk.
And you can see that in the numbers, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. Foreign direct investment has dipped to lows we haven't seen in a decade. And the actual number of foreign workers there has seen a really sharp decline. This isn't just a trade issue anymore.
Ideology is shaping operational reality.
That's it, exactly.
And that reality gets complicated fast. I mean, if you're a professional or a whole corporation and you're thinking about a multi-year assignment, you need some stability.
I need predictability.
But instead you see these big anti-corruption drives, these sweeping national security campaigns. For a foreign national, even if you're doing everything right, how do you navigate that kind of unease?
That unease is the heart of the problem. The regulatory environment is so ambiguous now.
How so?
Well, think about the new rules on data transfer or how certain counter-espionage laws are being interpreted. It's vague.
So the rules of the game are changing.
Constantly. And often without much warning. That makes committing long-term resources, whether it's money or people, extremely risky.
There was an analogy in one of the reports that really stuck with me.
What was it?
It said it's like trying to drive a car when the road signs keep changing. And sometimes they just vanish.
That's perfect. How can you plan a 5 or 10-year growth strategy when the foundation feels like it's constantly moving?
You can't. Solid planning becomes almost impossible.
And this pressure forces companies to get defensive. We saw a lot of them shift to that in China for China model.
Right, the idea being to source everything locally to minimize your external risk.
On paper, it sounds smart, but there's a paradox there, a real catch.
Which is what?
Well, the whole reason these foreign companies have an edge is their global network, their IP, their R&D from headquarters, their supply chains. If you cut yourself off and source everything locally,
You lose your advantage.
you lose what makes you unique, and then what really separates you from a super agile, low-cost local competitor, not much.
So the attempt to reduce geopolitical risk ends up eating away at your core value.
Exactly. And that changes the nature of the assignments. A role that used to be a 5 to 7 year posting is now more likely a shorter, high-impact strategic rotation.
A specific project, a specific problem to solve.
A year, maybe 2, and then you're out. That completely changes the logistics for the professional and the company.
It means you're not looking for a long-term lease on a house anymore. You need something flexible.
Absolutely. The demand has totally shifted. It's now all about flexible, extended stay solutions. Think service departments, not 5-year rental contracts.
Speed, flexibility, efficiency. It's become the essential infrastructure for this new model of work.
You got it.
Okay, let's shift focus. Let's look inward at the market itself, because that maturation feels like the truly permanent change here.
I agree.
We all know the days of, 10% breakneck growth are basically over. What does that kind of slowdown do to the consumer on the ground?
It changes absolutely everything. When an economy matures, the consumers get a lot more discerning.
It's not just about buying the first foreign brand you see anymore.
Not at all. Now consumers are demanding intrinsic value, they want high quality, and crucially, they want brands that align with their personal beliefs or their cultural identity.
Which means that old reliance on brand cachet alone, that's gone. You have to prove you're locally relevant, and you have to do it fast.
At hyperspeed, we've seen this in sectors like beauty and consumer electronics.
Yeah?
Local Chinese brands use deep cultural insights and incredibly agile social media strategies to just outmaneuver the big global
The
names.
giants just couldn't keep up.
Couldn't keep up with the pace of localization needed. And that's not just about strategy, it's about having the right people.
Which brings us to the rise of local talent. I mean, this feels like the biggest story of all.
It is. China is no longer just importing expertise, it's now an exporter of it.
We're seeing this huge pool of incredibly skilled professionals.
A huge, ambitious pool. Many have master's degrees from top global universities, so they understand international markets, but they also have that non-negotiable, deep understanding of the local ecosystem.
And they're competing for the top jobs.
Directly. And winning. They're getting the leadership and technical roles that 10 years ago would have gone to an expat without question.
And here's the really fascinating part for me. The cool factor of foreign firms is dropping.
The luster has faded, yeah.
For decades, right?
Yeah.
Working for an MNC was the absolute pinnacle, the
Yeah.
gold standard for your career.
It was a path to global mobility, the best training, all of it. But that's changed.
And there's data on this, right?
Hard data. Attendance at university recruiting events for MNCs has plummeted, sometimes by 50% or more.
Why? What's the perception?
The perception is that local Chinese companies are innovating faster, they're offering more responsibility earlier, and they give you a much more direct path to making a real strategic impact.
The unique selling proposition of the foreign firm just isn't unique anymore.
It's not.
So if that old Western playbook is basically useless, what do MNCs need to do to even compete for talent now?
They need a total rethink, a move towards radical agility.
What does that look like in practice?
It means deep local leadership. It means creating clear, fast-track pathways for local employees into the executive suite. It means pushing decision-making authority away from global HQ and into the local market.
So blending global standards with hyper-local intelligence.
That's the only way to thrive now.
Okay, so let's zoom in on the individual professional's experience. If the corporate manual is changing, the expat's personal career guide must be getting a rewrite too.
A dramatic one.
And one of the most painful points from the analysis is that your hard-won experience, say, a decade in the region, is actually losing value faster than ever.
It's a tough truth. The pace of change is just so relentless. What was cutting edge 5 years ago might be completely obsolete today.
So relying on your past success is actually a liability.
It can be. Because local competitors are using tech and consumer models that didn't even exist a few years ago, you have to be a perpetual student.
And a big part of that is mastering the local tech ecosystem.
Oh, it's non-negotiable. If you're not fluent in the super apps WeChat, Alipay, which are woven into every part of life.
You're at a huge disadvantage.
A massive one. Local competitors don't just use these apps, they innovate within them. If you miss that connection point with the consumer, you're basically invisible.
So the new success manual for a professional on one of these strategic rotations has 3 key rules.
I'd say so.
1, embrace the local tech. 2, study local competitors like they're the market leaders, because they probably are.
And 3,
Be willing to constantly unlearn old assumptions.
exactly. And this need for adaptable, globally minded, but locally fluent talent is what's fueling the other big shift.
The move towards Chinese companies that are expanding globally.
That's right. Ambitious professionals are seeing huge opportunities there.
Why are these firms suddenly so compelling? What are they offering that the big MNCs aren't?
Well, a few things. But flexibility and impact are the big ones.
How so?
They're actively looking for people who can be a bridge, who can help steer their global expansion. They offer a chance to actually define your own role.
So more of an entrepreneurial feel.
Way more. There's less red tape, less rigid hierarchy. You have more scope to make a personal impact, and faster.
And then there's the money. We can't ignore the financial incentives.
You absolutely cannot. They're being very, very aggressive. We're talking seriously attractive pay packages.
Beyond just a competitive salary.
Oh, way beyond. Massive performance bonuses, and the real kicker, pre-IPO stock options.
That's the game changer.
It is. For a senior professional looking for that one big life-changing financial event, getting in on the ground floor of a company like that is a much clearer path to serious wealth than you'll find at most established Western corporations.
And this whole shift is only possible because of the revolution in the local talent pool itself.
That's the foundation for all of this.
We're not talking about recent graduates here. We're talking about a whole new class of seasoned, globally aware executives.
Absolutely. We're seeing the first generation of Western-educated Chinese professionals reaching full maturity in their careers.
The people who went abroad for university and their first jobs.
Exactly. They're now in their late 40s, their 50s. They studied at top U.S. and European schools, worked internationally for years, and now they've returned with this incredibly potent blend of local insight and global know-how.
They're the whole package.
They really are, and they're now filling the country head and regional leadership roles across Asia. They're incredibly versatile.
So it's not just the domestic market.
No, they're leading multi-regional operations, proving they can run strategy across different cultures. They are the perfect fit for Chinese firms that want to go global. It reduces the need to import expat leaders.
Which puts huge pressure back on the MNCs, who are now losing their top people, both foreign and local, to these competitors.
It's a fierce, fierce war for a very specific type of adaptable talent. And the local giants are using every tool they have: compensation, career path, impact to win it.
So let's pull all this together. If you're listening right now thinking about your own career, what's the single core message from this deep dive?
The game has fundamentally, and I think permanently, changed. The era of the stable long-term posting where you could succeed just by importing Western best practices, that's over.
It's a museum piece.
It is. Success now is all about blending global standards with deep, immediate local agility. It's about constant learning.
Which explains why the assignments are becoming these shorter, high-impact strategic rotations we talked about.
Exactly. And why those flexible living solutions are now so critical. The whole infrastructure has had to adapt.
It really shows that the currency of your professional value isn't how long you've been in one market anymore.
No. It's your ability to bridge different global systems and to master local nuance at high speed.
And that leads to a really important final thought for you to take away.
I think so.
If these highly competitive, fast-growing Chinese companies are now prioritizing global perspective and offering huge incentives like pre-IPO stock, what skills, beyond just expertise in one market, should you be focused on right now?
To put it another way, are you prioritizing your adaptability quotient? Your ability to unlearn old ways and plug into new systems seamlessly?
Or are you just racking up years of experience in a single market? Because the future really does favor the globally fluent.
And the locally agile. Something to mull over as you plan that next strategic rotation.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.